Hi friends, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. Today on John's Briefs, talking with the expert criminal defense attorney, Tim Forshey from Forshey Law, about taking a gun away from someone and how long I can still consider them a deadly threat.
To win the fight after the fight, you need help. After a use of force, I trust Firearms Legal Protection to help me win the fight for the rest of my life. From their 24/7 attorney-answered hotline to coverage for the use of all legal tools, Firearms Legal Protection has you covered. Get a discount by signing up at the link below.
So put a link in the description to the video in question that shows a guy taking a gun away from, he's at an ATM, getting money, that's a problem. Dude decides to mug him, sticks a gun in his face, complies for a minute, takes the guy's gun away, burns him down, shoots him several times. And then the guy runs off and he stops. All right, cool. But Tim, he's a deadly threat to me because he has a gun on me. Okay, and so he has ability to do me deadly harm. He has opportunity to show me deadly harm. He has put me at jeopardy. He has shown manifest intent of deadly harm. I snagged that gun from him. Well, wait a minute, I've taken away his ability. So can I still use that gun against him?
Well, I think what you just said was very important. You said, okay, I've taken away his ability. I'm not 100% sure you have, right? I don't know if he has any other weapons. He clearly has murderous intent,
okay,
right? Just because I now have his primary weapon, does that mean his murderous intent is gone? Does that mean he might not have a backup weapon? He might not have a weapon in the other hand I haven't seen? Also, if I just took the gun away from him, couldn't he take it back away from me again?
Okay.
Right? So to me, this is a very, very dynamic situation that requires dynamic thinking, not static thinking, right? The very static way of thinking would be, okay.
Wait. Friends, that was important information right there.
Oh, wow, there you go.
That was this idea of...
You mean we got a gem out of my pile of mud today? That's incredible.
well, so when you say dynamic thinking, this is,
yes,
the jury is looking, and we are all looking at moment by moment, right? Slices of time. Is it reasonable in this second? Is it reasonable at this half second? And in these go over a course of 3 or 4 seconds.
Right. And don't forget, the human mind takes time to make decisions. And once we make a decision, we take time to implement the decision, right? You play that game slapjack with your kids, right?
Yeah.
Action always beats reaction. So we see this all the time where, well, they shot him 6 times. Maybe they could, maybe the first shot was justifiable, maybe even a second, but you can't shoot the guy 6 times. Do you realize that my splits were 0.15, that I shot those 6 shots in less than 1 second? And that it takes my mind longer than that to perceive that the threat has stopped, and then to tell my trigger finger to stop moving. Exactly. It's probably, I think neuropsychologists tend to say, the ones I've used in cases, about 1.5 seconds is very common, right?
So you guys hear me talk about this on the big channel all the time. Force science analyst here. We talk about the quarter seconds and half seconds and 0.6 to 0.8 to make a decision, another quarter second to implement it.
So we're back up to about
a second, buck and a quarter, you know, to really make things go.
And so when I saw that video, first of all, I thought, this guy's got skills. I mean, that was either the most lucky,
handled his business,
most lucky disarmament I've ever seen, or this guy really knew what he was doing. Because not only did he twist the gun quickly and expertly and take it, but he had a firing grip and a firing stance and put, it looks like 2 or 3 or 4 rounds on target really quick. That guy had some skills. I have to believe he had some skills.
Sure looked like it.
In which case, again, that means he's trained for this. And when you train for this, again, if you get that gun away fast, it's very common you're going to shoot him. What does a police officer know? A police officer knows that approximately 30% of all police officer deaths in this country each year are from a police officer's own weapon.
Yeah.
So taking a weapon from somebody is incredibly deadly. And when somebody takes my weapon, or if I take their weapon, this is a very dynamic situation that's happening in fractions of a second. And if I wait to see whether he's still a threat and I catch his knife in my throat, I'm really going to wish I hadn't waited.
Well, especially because when I take a gun away from him, we're right here.
Right.
We're up this close.
Right.
I mean, at some point, and I think in this video that we were talking about, you know, he shot the guy 3 or 4 times.
Right.
And then he shot at the guy 3 or 4 times, at least one of them went through the door. And then the guy jumps out the window where that was and runs off, and he stops.
And he stopped shooting, and that was my point. If it took him 2 seconds to get the gun away and 2 seconds to figure out what kind of gun this is, and then another 2 seconds, and then he's shooting the guys he's running down the hallway.
Right.
That's homicide. That's not justifiable. It's always homicide, but it's not justifiable, right? But yeah, it happened. Bam! I mean, it literally looked to me as though it happened in less than a second. And then, and once the guy was clearly running away, he stopped delivering fire. I think it was justifiable, even though people might say, well, gosh, I mean, the guy didn't have a gun anymore. He didn't have that gun anymore. How do I know what else he's got?
So I
For
think
all I know, he's already stabbed me and I haven't felt it yet. I don't know what's going on here.
So we got this idea of a reasonable person, and we want to be careful because I don't want to speculate. You know, we talk about being very careful to speculate what he could do as opposed to what he is doing.
Right.
Well, what is he doing in that moment? Well, he's threatening me with a gun. That's what he's doing, and so I took that gun away from him, used it quickly to change his behavior.
That's right.
And at some point, I'm going to guess. And we're talking seconds here.
Yeah.
You
Fractions
know,
of seconds.
fractions
Yeah.
of seconds. You know, as he starts to run off. So this guy runs and then he gets, you know, up against the wall. Okay, so we're going to still get after him a little bit. He ran up and bonked him on the head with a gun. That was a bad idea.
Yeah,
that was not smart. You got a distance tool. Use the distance.
Right.
But then the guy runs off. All right, cool. Now I know the threat is over
Correct.
and I'm good with it. So I think you've got some time there.
Yep.
To me, it looks like, you know, you've talked about this, that evil, depraved intent. He's the one who had evil, depraved intent
Right.
because he threatened me with a gun.
He started this, as you said, as you
Yeah.
always say, he put a quarter in the jukebox, now we're dancing.
Yeah, he
So,
paid the band.
Yep.
And so, but I don't want to become him and start to have evil intent. I want to protect, not punish.
And again, if it continued for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, I think at that point you go, hey dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But this was instinctive. This was a visceral reaction to a very credible threat to his life. And I think he stopped using force within a second or two. I would say I'm pretty comfortable saying I can convince a jury that was appropriate use of lethal force. Yeah.
I mean, I would think you'd be able to just convince a district attorney.
I would hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, man. You know,
But the way you convince a district attorney is convince them, you can convince a jury.
Right. Okay. All right. Fair. And you know, don't waste your time and money on this one, dude.
Right,
You know.
right.
And so there's that idea again of a dynamic situation requires dynamic thinking,
Right.
and you're going to be asked to be reasonable every point of the way. And we've had ones. We just had one on the channel after a guy ends up killing one guy, shooting another one who attacked him, and then he's mad at the end of that and stomps that dude who's still alive's head.
Yep.
And I go, okay, I'm gonna let him get away with that. I'm glad he stopped after one stomp. You know, the guy surrenders and lays down and it's shot. The other guy's dead, and he stomps him pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I go, I get it. I'm glad you stopped, because
Yeah.
if you kept stomping, you start river dancing the guy. At some point, you become the offender, right? You become on offense, not defense. But you get some tie going to the runner.
Yeah.
So, and I love this idea of what can I convince 12 reasonable people?
Right.
You know, the animal with an IQ of 1200.
Right.
What they're going to do, and I think that's where it is. So, Tim, I really appreciate the wisdom, guys. Be smart.
Absolutely. Thanks, Johnny.